Conditions might be a little bit different. And what I mean by that is, here you go.
All right, so let's say they had that not interested, you overcome it, you loop back around, you come back in, or they didn't have it, you walk right back in. You have something called the catch me up to speed that we didn't go over a minute ago. So catch me up to speed. Is that what you do before you go through the bill? So like the other spouse didn't hear anything before. You were like a one-legger, let's say you're talking to her, now the husband's there, you gotta like get him on board, because even if he's not the ultimate decision maker, if he doesn't wear the pants in the family or whatever, he still could influence the decision. So you gotta get them both involved.
Yeah, so like at the very, very beginning, we're talking about building the gap.
Yeah.
And so they need to know what their situation is. And if they're seeing, you can't have them seeing their situation as just a $150 bill.
Yeah.
And so we need
that doesn't drive enough change. It doesn't drive enough big of a gap. It's a little bit of a gap, but it's not enough with some people. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I can't say the same thing earlier to build a gap, which is like never any contract, nothing in writing, can raise it whenever they want to.
Yeah.
And so
you have to reword it differently.
Exactly. And so when I first get in it, it's like, I'll catch. I don't expect your spouse to do my job. I'll kind of catch up to speed real quick. At the end of the day, like people kind of make this out to be like a bigger job. We're talking about electricity. You know? Yeah. Probably didn't write home about when you moved in and called the utility company and put it in your name, right? Anyway, so it's just another way about electricity, no more, no less. Just the terms and conditions might be a little bit different. And what I mean by that is, here you got your bill to show you what I'm talking about.
And then you go into the bill. Okay. Yeah. So that's a good way to like bridge into like the situation.
That's like we found out who the culprit was. It was your.
And then we do the bill thing, which we already did over in the other module. Yeah. And then right after the bill, we want to go into, we sometimes will ask about the roof if we didn't ask it like up front. And then we get into like problem awareness. Mm-hmm. Now, I added a little wrinkle here that we've been training a lot of solar reps here, probably in the last 6 months, that have been working really, really well. Since like January, we've been training them like this unique technique. And so what we do is, once you like go through the bill, now, hey, can I ask you something can I ask you something in regards to like your power company without you getting upset with me? Now you have to ask that in that tone, okay? So this works really, really well because it disarms them. We talk about disarming. We have to disarm. We're disarming the prospect the whole way, not just in the very beginning when we knock on their door or when we're on Zoom with them if you do virtual sales. We're disarming the prospect the whole way. So what I'm doing is hey, you lean in, right? And you've got this more concerned tone, okay? Like that they're going to get angry at you. This works brilliantly because then they pull you in even more. They're like, yeah, what do you have in mind? So I lean in like, can I ask you something in regards to like your electric company without you getting upset with me? Everybody will be like, no, what's going on? What do you have in mind? I mean, if you're, utility company, the utility company, electric company, power company, whatever you say. I mean, if you're a power company, if Duke, say you're selling, I think North Carolina's Duke Energy. If Duke Energy, and you just name back the utility company, if Duke Energy or Nevada Power, if Nevada Power knocked on your door today, and this is kind of a cheesy question. See, anytime you're going to ask a cheesy question, if you say, this is kind of a cheesy question, then it won't be a cheesy question because you've like pre-framed it in there, so they're not going to be like, well, obviously, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you've already said this is kind of cheesy question 10 minutes before, you don't want to say this is another cheesy question. Like, this is kind of an obvious question, obvious, cheesy, whatever you want to. It's kind of a cheesy question, but let's say that, Nevada Power, they gave you, and I'm looking at this because I don't have this memorized. They gave you the option to lock in your payment, like literally lock it in for the next 25 years. The $261 you're paying, like it's literally locked in for the next 25 years. It can't go up 1 penny, and they can't raise it. Like they cannot raise it. And then at the end of that 25-year mark, when it's been locked in the whole time, where all your neighbors that don't have solar, they're paying like 3 times as much. But then at that end of that 25-year mark, they call you and they're like, hey, we really like you. You've been a really great customer. You don't ever have to pay another utility bill again. It's going to be free forever the rest of your life. What would you tell them? Now, what would they say to that?
Oh gosh, no, that lands. And what's cool about that is it's when you change the context, they change permission with what they can say yes to. Yeah.
Now let me do this again because I want you guys to notice my tone. Because if I go, hey, can I ask you something in regards to your power company that you get upset at me? Sure, go ahead. It's just like, it's too quick. It's not that serious. It doesn't pull them in. I mean, if your utility company knocked on your door today, and let's say they gave you the option to do your payment for the next 25 years, they locked in the rate, and at the end of the 25-year mark, they said you don't have a bill, what would you say? Well, I mean, obviously I'd like that. See, there's no emotion that you're drawing out because you're going too fast, and you're not using your tone to like lower their guard, where they become like, oh my gosh, like they're hanging on every word. So I'm like, now can I ask you guys, I'm talking to husband and wife, can I ask you guys something in regards to like, Duke Energy without you getting upset with me? Sure, yeah. And they're not like, no, I'm not. They'll be, yeah, what's going on? Every time. I mean, if Duke Energy knocked on your door today, okay, and this is kind of a cheesy question, right? But if they knocked on your door, and let's say they gave you the option to lock in your rate for the next 25 years straight. So the $262 that you've been paying on average per month, like the last couple months, like you'll never have to pay any more per month than that, like not a cent more. So like all your neighbors who aren't with solar, what are they gonna be paying in 25 years? Probably like 5 times what that is. So your locked in rate for the next 25 years. 261, they're never able to raise it at all. Like they can't raise it. And then at the end of that 25 years, Duke Energy calls you and like, hey, you've been a really good customer, and because you have really cool hair and your nose is awesome, you don't have to pay us again. Like you're never gonna have a bill. If they did that, what would you say? Now you're gonna say that sarcastically. I mean, if they did that, what would you say to them? And like, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. Now on the flip side, let's say then, I want you to imagine this, let's say 3 to 4 years later, like literally, after they've locked in the rate, you've paid $261, not a penny more, and they come back 4 years later, and then they try to persuade you to go back on the old plan. And I'm looking at this, where they can just raise the rate like every year to whatever they wanted without your permission, with no end date. Okay, so they're forcing you to pay the bill with the rate hikes every single year until you die. What would you then tell them in that situation? What do they say to that?
That's insane.
They'd be like, well, the hell with that.
So what's cool is like they will answer that how they really want to answer that.
Yeah.
You're not going to get power circles. It's a made up scenario.
Yeah.
But you can go in crazy detail.
But what it does is it gets them in their mind. It's kind of like an analogy, right? It's an analogy where they're like, oh my gosh, like why would I ever stay on this old plan when I can have the new plan and lower my bill a little bit per month, my rate's locked in, then after 25 years I never have a bill. Like why would I ever like want to stay on the old plan?
Like sometimes I'll say that, I'm like, yeah, what would I have to say to you to convince you to do that?
Yeah. What would we have to say to you?
What would Duke have to say to you to convince you to go back to the old plan?
Yeah, what would Duke have to say to you to convince you to go back on the old plan where they can just raise your rate every month?
Yeah.
What do they say to that?
Oh, their brain sockets are fried.
And it's hard for them to be at the end, be like, oh no, we need to think it over. I think we'll just stay with the Duke Energy.
No.
Or Nevada Power, whoever you're selling.